Welcome back to Let's Be Real. You know, there were guys in college that were famous for wearing clothes that passed a smell test. To get dressed, they would grab the clothes off the floor or wherever else they were lying, smell them, then wear them if they didn't stink too badly. The clothes could smell just a little, but not too much. When the clothes would get too stinky, they would just go into another pile. This cycle continued until they could buy new clothes or were forced to do laundry because they were just too broke or out of clothes. To some of you, this sounds sick, but to many guys, this was a way of life. And I had a roommate like this in my first year of Bible college. Let's call him Mark. Now, one of the things that I look forward to in Bible college was getting a care package from my parents in Newfoundland. This care package consisted of things that I missed from home that I couldn't buy here in Ontario. Things like canned moose meat, salted dried fish, Vienna sausages, purity products like syrup, peppermint knobs, and jams. They were so amazing. They were so good. Sorry. Off topic, back to my roommate. We lived in a small, tiny dorm room, no bigger than 16 feet by 10 feet. Every 2 weeks, I had a schedule. I would get my dirty laundry and bed sheets and head to the laundry room. In September, I didn't pay any attention to my roommate, but as we got into October, I noticed that Mark wasn't visiting the facilities to do his laundry. One morning, I watched him pick through his laundry basket to find something that passed a smell test. I finally let him have it. Mark, I think it's time to do laundry. It's been 2 months. You haven't washed one load of clothes or even changed your bed sheets. Buddy, you need to get to it. Mark replied, yeah, I'll do it on Friday. You know, Friday came and his laundry basket didn't move. And this continued until November and into December. Now, this one particular day in mid-December, Mark and I were walking back to our dorm room from a theology class. Mark noticed a foul smell as we walked down the hallway towards our room. Jokingly, I said, "It's your laundry from the past 3 months, buddy. Maybe it's time to wash your dirty laundry." As we passed other people, they too were complaining about the nasty smell. It wasn't good. As we walked into our room, we nearly passed out. We looked at his pile of clothes. We looked at each other and he said, "I guess it's time to do laundry." I said, "You think?" Mark packed up everything on his side of the room that he could put in the washing machine, and I mean everything. He kept saying to me as he was doing this, "Barry, I'm so sorry. I should have done this sooner." After he finished his laundry, we cleaned and sanitized and sprayed every square inch of our room. We could finally breathe. The next day, as I returned from a class and Mark was still in bed, when I opened the door, I almost passed out. The smell had returned and it was as bad as or worse than what it was before. Mark was lost for words. He says, "I washed everything. I checked my closet and made sure that I hadn't forgotten anything, and there was nothing." He says, "Perhaps I should take another shower just in case." It was funny. We were confident that it was Mark's laundry. And as Mark took a shower, I sniffed around every corner of the room. And I was getting ready to burn his mattress at this point because we were unsure of where the smell was coming from. As I continued to investigate further, I checked my side of the room for dirty items that belonged to Mark, and I couldn't find anything. But I was confident, and Mark was confident, that it was his problem. I went to grab another can of air freshener from my closet, and in doing so, I knocked it over. Now, it fell to the back corner behind my care package. And as I moved the care package out of the closet to get the air freshener, the smell hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't Mark's clothes or Mark's body odor. It was a broken can of moose meat from my care package that had been not sealed properly and fermenting for the past 3 months. Wow, poor Mark. I was convinced that he was the source of this nasty stench and smell. And he was convinced. You see, I had my closet organized. I had the canned mousse on the bottom, and I had the lighter stuff packed on top. I had it organized. How would I know that the smell was coming from my closet? I kept my side of the room clean. You know, one of the hardest 3-word statements to make? I am wrong. I had to say that. There was a problem with Mark's side of the room. He truly needed to do laundry and clean up. But it was so easy for me to point out that the smell came from his side of the room. It was so easy for me to be critical and to get caught up into telling him to clean his room. And in doing so, I missed the fact that the main source of the problem was on my side of the room. Now let's be real, it's hard to see our own flaws, where we went wrong, what we need to own up to. And I challenged myself on this daily. I remember times that I had to correct my kids for trying to blame someone else for doing something that they needed to own themselves. I could clearly see their pride and the insecurity and the fear wrapped around their blaming words. And why could I see it so clearly? This is why. It's always easier to spot it in other people. We all have to choose our own path. We can choose the path of pride, which means that I can blame the other person, focus on their flaws, and refuse to own my part in it. And that response will increase my pride and decrease the Lord's blessing in my life. Or we can choose the humble way, which means I can honestly assess that I added to this conflict, admit where I went wrong, and ask for forgiveness. And that response will lead to humility and increase the Lord's blessing in my life. We see these principles throughout the Bible. Matthew 23 verse 12 says, "For those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." Also in Proverbs 11 verse 2, he says, "When pride comes, then comes disgrace. But with humility comes wisdom." I know this and I believe this. So why do I find it so hard to implement this? Well, because I ask these questions to justify my thinking. Is it really my fault? It's not fair to assign blame to me when this person did this. You get my point? Assigning blame is the wrong direction to take. We need to own our part of the conflict and approach it with a heart of humility. I've yet to see where I haven't added something to an issue or conflict. I am never completely innocent. There are gifts hidden in the tough stuff of conflict. There is grace and honor to be gained, but we will only see those gifts if we stop blaming others and start examining ourselves. We all have to follow the truth of this, but it's hard. I know some days I'm mad and some days I'm frustrated, and there's other days that I'm hurt. The last thing I feel like doing is examining where I went wrong, but I know that is what I need to do. Will you pray this with me today? God, please soften my heart. Give me eyes to see beyond my pain, to see things through your eyes, and help me cut through the assumptions of wrong thinking. Help me to honor you in this and to honor you in everything that I do. You know, at the end of this video, there's some reflective questions. Why don't you take some time to go through them with a friend, a family member, and ask yourself, do I need to get better at this? Because I know I do. God bless.